know. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. So today's video is going to be another book haul just to round off all the books that I bought in 2021. And I know I literally just filmed a book haul like only a few months ago, but I felt like I needed to do another one because I have bought a lot of books since then. And also I was gifted some books during Christmas, so I wanted to talk about that too. I'm not going to talk about it anymore, I'm just going to get into it. So since I always forget like what order I get all these books in, I'm going to talk about all the books that I received as gifts first, and then after that I'm going to talk about the books that I bought. The first couple of books that I received for Christmas was from my cousin. She actually got me two books that she really loved and that she thought I would enjoy. The first book that she got me was No Longer Human by Osamu Dazai. I talked about this book in one of my previous videos that I really wanted to read this book. She got me this because when we were sitting in the cafe together, she had brought this book into the cafe with her and I was really interested in reading it, and she took note of that and bought it for me for Christmas. So I'm really happy that she bought this for me. If you haven't watched the video where I talk about this book, it's basically about a person who is seemingly living a normal life, but he finds himself incapable of understanding other human beings. So he's kind of like alienated in his life, and I feel like it's like kind of a reflection of Osamu Dazai himself. So I'm very interested in reading about this book. The other book that she got me was Convenience Store Woman by Sayaka Murata. To be honest, I forgot what the plot of this book is, so I'll read the synopsis for you. Convenience Store Woman is a heartwarming and surprising story of a 36-year-old Tokyo resident, Keiko Furukura. Keiko has never fit in, neither in her family nor in school, but when at the age of 18 she begins working at a Hiromachi branch of Smile Mart, she finds peace and purpose in her life. In the store, unlike anywhere else, she understands the rules of social interaction, playing the part of a normal person excellently, more or less. Keiko is very happy, but the people close to her, from her family to her co-workers, increasingly pressure her to find a husband and start a proper career, prompting her to take desperate actions. This actually sounds a little bit similar to No Longer Human, where she's kind of like alienated and like doesn't really understand how human beings interact with each other. So it's understandable that she would get me these two books as a gift. I feel like my cousin and I are both interested in books like this where the main protagonist is kind of like a little bit different from other human beings. Bonus gift, she actually drew me this Tomie bookmark, and I am literally obsessed with this bookmark. Like, she actually drew this bookmark. You can kind of see the strokes on there. So yeah, thank you so much. The next book that I received for Christmas was Tomie by Junji Ito. I received this from Alex, who is the guy that I'm dating right now. It's such a large and kind of expensive book, to be honest. I've read this book twice already. I literally just finished reading it like a few months ago, but surprisingly I'd never had this copy, so I'm really happy to finally own it. And now I can finally tab all the places that were my favorite parts of the book and all that stuff. So thank you so much for this. Next few books were also gifts from Alex, but they weren't like Christmas presents or anything. We just went to the Barnes & Noble and he bought me a couple of books when we were there. First of which is Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. I've had a bunch of people recommending this book to me because there are some talk about cars and stuff apparently. I really don't know what this book is about. As far as I know, it's like a young adult fantasy. Even that I'm not really 100% sure about, but I hear it's a really popular book, so I'm really excited to read that one. Next book that he got me was The Wicked King by Holly Black. A couple of vlogs ago I read The Cruel Prince and I really liked that book. If you don't know what that series is about, it's basically like a young adult fantasy dealing with the fae and stuff. It's the very first fairy book that I've ever read, and I actually really liked it because I feel like it's a little bit more serious and less romantic than other young adult novels. So I'm really excited to see what happens next in the series. And then the last book that Alex got me was The Love Hypothesis by Hazelwood. A lot of people have been talking about this book, so I was really excited to try this book out. In particular, I watched a vlog by Michaela Reeds, and this ended up being like one of her favorite romance novels. So definitely check out her vlog talking about this book. So as far as I know, this is an enemies to lovers and a fake dating trope, so really excited to read this book. And thank you to both Kathleen and Alex for getting me those books. You can never go wrong with getting me books as gifts, obviously. So next I'm going to talk about all the books that I bought for myself. Honestly, I really have been trying not to buy myself that many books because I've been receiving a lot of books as gifts. If you watch my last book haul, you'll know that somebody anonymously gifted me like 30 books. So I've been trying to read as many books as I can before I buy myself more books. So out of all of these books, I've only actually bought one one brand new one. The rest of them have been all used. Partly because I wanted to save money and partly because I wanted to support the bookstore that I got them from. So the only book that I bought brand new was A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. I have been wanting to read a Charles Dickens book for like the longest time, and what better book to start off with than A Christmas Carol, which I've already seen the movie of, so I know what happens. I mean, I think everyone knows what happens in this book. There's actually a lot of editions that I saw after I bought this one that I really liked, but this was a cool edition that is very small and compact and able to take when I'm traveling, and it still had some illustrations in it, which I really enjoyed looking at when I was reading it. I read this on Christmas Eve and on Christmas Day, and it was just like huge Christmas vibes, and I really enjoyed reading this. So this is the first thing that I bought for myself and the only thing that I bought brand new. The rest of these books I bought at a used bookstore when I was in Las Vegas. My brother actually works at a library in Las Vegas, and they have a bookstore in there where they sell used books that are all donated. They're all like $1 or less, and all of the books that are $1 are like all the hardback ones, and I've only bought 2 hardbacks, so that should give you a small indication of how much I spent. I literally spent less than $10 on all the rest of these books. So the first book that I got from the bookstore is actually Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, and I already have a copy of this book, but I really liked this edition. It's such a cute little pocket edition, and it kind of made me want to reread this book, so I bought this one. And I mean, I just love old books, you know. This book has such nice pages. They're almost as thin as Bible pages, which I think is kind of funny, but what sold me was that it has illustrations in it, so there's actually some pictures in there you can kind of see. So that's why I bought this book, even though I already have a copy of it, but whatever. The next book that I got was Dante's Inferno, and I know nothing about this book. I just know it's a classic. Honestly, it's so short that I kind of wanted to check this book out. Not something that I can see myself keeping unless I really love it, but yeah, just wanted to see what this book was. And then I also got The Scarlet Letter. There's kind of like a theme here about me getting classic books at used bookstores, but I just, you know, I really love old books. I know generally what the story of The Scarlet Letter is about, but I've never read this book, and it seemed like such a short book to me that I felt like I could add it to my collection. So really excited to read this one. I feel like I've said that about like every book. I'm excited to read all of these books. That's why I bought them in the first place. And then lastly, I bought Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. I can't remember if I bought this before or after I read A Christmas Carol, but since I really loved A Christmas Carol, I think I'm going to love other works by Charles Dickens. Honestly, I don't know what these books are about. I probably should know at least a little bit about these books, but it's okay. I'll figure it out when I read it. The next book that I bought from this bookstore was 1,000 Splendid Suns by Khaled Hosseini. If you guys have watched my favorite books of 2021, this was number 2 in that video, and I actually borrowed a copy of that book from my friend Teresa when I read that book. Really loved it, so I decided that it would be worth it to buy my own copy of this book and be able to write my own little notations and stuff like that in here. So that's why I bought this one. The next couple of books that I got were also by Khaled Hosseini, and that is The Kite Runner, and I bought 2 copies of this because I wanted to give one away to somebody that maybe I would be able to buddy read this book with. Haven't decided yet who I wanted to give the second copy to. Since I loved 1,000 Splendid Suns, I figured I would get The Kite Runner and see what it's about. Don't know what this book is about, but I'm excited regardless. Last but not least, I got a bunch of books from a series, and that is the next 7 books from the Sookie Stackhouse novels, or the Sookie Stackhouse series. I can't remember what it's called, but I think everyone would recognize this as like the True Blood series. Like, they made the True Blood show out of it. I don't know who decided to like donate all of these books to the bookstore, but all of these books were in there. I don't think this is the complete series either. This is just like 7 out of like 12 of them. The first book wasn't in the bookstore, but luckily enough I already had the copy of the first book, so decided to get all of these and, you know, fill up my bookshelves. My bookshelves need more books on them, and what better way to fill up that bookshelf than to buy a huge series about vampires, you know? So yeah, that is all the books that I received as gifts slash bought for myself. Really hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if there are any books that I should get to first, because I would really like to hear your thoughts on some of these books, especially on the classics. If you read classics, let me know which classic that I should start on first. Really hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you're having a wonderful day. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, comment anything that you want to comment down below, and subscribe because I post new videos every week. And hit that notification bell if you haven't already so that you can be notified every time I upload. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!